So I left because one of the coaches that I was working with started his own media company. And it was supposed to be this be all end all, like one-stop shop where they would do the marketing, you would shoot content, they would edit, they would make the reels, the TikToks, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, all of that. They would do all of it. They would distribute it to all the platforms. It was supposed to be like this entrepreneurial's like dream of like, you pay me and we do everything. And so I got kind of set up this idea. Here's your proposal. You're going to be making a little bit less in the beginning just because we're a startup, but the upside looks like this. In X amount of time, we should be here. And then you should be really, really crushing it and taking off. And I was like, cool, I'm looking for a change. And they're like, come be the sales director. And you basically get to build your own department from the ground up. And I was like, this sounds awesome. This is entrepreneurial-esque, right? It's more like entrepreneur, I guess. I get to like run my own business inside of someone else's business. The amount of times that getting paid was delayed, I would bring in $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 in a week. And they're like, oh, we don't have money to pay you. And I'd be like, what?
Where'd it go?
What? Yeah, exactly.
Did you eat it?
By January, the business folded. It folded on itself because overextension. I don't know. Were we crushing it in sales? No. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was bringing in $50K a month and it was all gone. It was a grind. It was a scrap because we're unproven. We had no money to put into any kind of marketing. Everything was outbound with no branding and no tie to a celebrity. You know, if it was Hormozy endorsed or Cardone endorsed or whatever, we would have had no problem just blowing up just with a good word from them. We had none of that. And so it was a grind. It sucked and made little to no money. And then the business fell apart on itself. And here I am with no job, now 2 kids, mortgage, and a wife who we agreed was not going to work until the kids went to school because I wanted her to be there for the kids. And she would only go back to work if she wanted to, not because she had to. Then here she is now having to go do Instacart to keep our lights on because I have no income. I have no savings. It's severely financially irresponsible. And I was selling off. I had, in my opinion, pretty awesome man cave at the time in the house that I was living in back in New York. I was selling off personal assets of game used memorabilia, autographed jerseys, footballs, baseballs, bats, all the stuff that I was collecting over the years, selling them. And it's not reoccurring. It's $400 right here. Okay, good. We can buy groceries. Like that's where we were at for probably 3-4 months. And I got my first couple of consulting clients that were ex gym launchers that I reached out to that were on my roster. And they're like, oh yeah, we loved working with you. And they saved my ass. I got 2 people to sign up. And that kind of extended me and kept me going, kept me in the game like we were just talking about.
Wow.
So it was to the point where it got very, very scary. I had a truck that I absolutely loved and still regret selling to this day. And had to sell it. Couldn't afford the payments.
Yeah.
And I bought it when I had the gym, and the gym paid for it because it was just generating tons of revenue. Everything was taken care of through there, and I couldn't pay for it myself.
Yeah.
So sold off tons of belongings and just got absolutely, I wouldn't say stuck, but put in a really hard place where my office at the house that I was at was in the basement. Geez, multiple times a week, I'd just be sitting there with my hands in my face crying like a baby because I felt so stressed, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
This was last January?
This was January 2022.
Yeah, that's when
all this happened.
It's tough as, you know, as a husband, as a father. It's the hardest with the promises that you knew wholeheartedly you were going to do everything in your power to deliver on.
That's it. I have 2 promises to my family. That is to provide and that is to protect. Those are the 2 things that I really pride myself on as a dad, as a husband. And I was failing miserably at both.
I've been in that dark hole too, man. I think, you know, we've talked about this before. And it's, you know, the kids, they don't know, right? But like, I'm so grateful and happy for you that we have the women in our lives that knew that this was a season.
Yeah.
And he is going to become even better than he was when we were at our best before.
That's exactly it. And the most reassuring thing that continually happened was I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out ways and I'm doing some side consulting stuff just to get some income in, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And to hear my wife continually say, I know you don't, but I believe in you. Like, I believe that you're going to figure this out. Something is going to happen. We're going to be fine. I'll continue to make the Instacart runs. You continue to do some side consulting. We will figure this out, but I believe something is going to happen and I believe you're going to be able to make it happen.
Yeah.
And to hear that, it was like, it made me want to start crying again, just of like relief.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was a very dark period. And by May of that year, May of 2022, ended up getting hired as a sales director for, I wouldn't even call them a competitor. I'm not going to badmouth them, but a competitor of Gym Launch. It was a gym agency. Very generous offer. And so I took it. I was like, oh yeah, dude. They're like, we're going to base you at this. Here's your commission structure. And I was like, finally, like out of this hole, here we go. Like we're going to be in a good spot.